On today's show, we explore the idea of trying on a new life, why spending a few days living differently can reveal what you really want, help you visualize your future, and uncover possibilities you may never have considered before. So grab your popcorn, get comfy, and start imagining all the different plot lines your future could take, because it's time to Movify your life by trying on a new life. Welcome to the Movify Your Life show, the plot twist you've been waiting for. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, and through the Movify Your Life method, I'll show you how to step into the starring role of your story and create a life worth watching. Every Movify Monday, you'll learn how to turn everyday moments into unforgettable memories, activate your main character energy, and use cinematic tools to boldly chase your biggest dreams, like the movie star you truly are. Because when the credits roll, I want you to look back at your life like it's the greatest film ever made, full of meaning, magic, and most importantly, zero regrets. And because I truly believe everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. So grab your popcorn, cue the music, and together, let's Movify your life. Hello, and welcome to the Movify Your Life show. I am your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, but you can call me Jess, and I am Chief Movifier and Director of Movify Your Life. Find out more at movifyyourlife.com if you're new here and have no idea what I'm talking about. So today's episode is titled, What If You Could Test Drive Your Dream Life? A Cinematic Experiment for Finding Your Future. And before we get into that though, just to give you a bit of a teaser, I just want to mention something that just happened to me half an hour ago. So last December, I went to Arizona to attend Business by Design Live. Business by Design is this online course community thing to help business owners. And I, on a whim, basically went to the live event, 3-day event in Arizona, even though I live in England. And I'm so glad I went. It was amazing. It's not just about business. It's about mindset, all that good stuff. And there was this thing we did there that they do every year, where you write a letter to your future self. And I've done this exercise loads before. It's quite a normal self-development exercise to do, but it was a bit different because you wrote it to yourself and you sealed it in an envelope and then you handed it over to the event organizers, knowing that at some point in the future, within the next year, you don't know when, they are going to post it to you and you get to read what you wrote when you were at the event. So this was in December last year and it is now June and I'd kind of forgotten about it and it arrived today and I was like, why have I got a letter from Arizona and why is it my handwriting? And then I was like, oh, it's my past self saying hello. And I won't read what I put in the letter because it was quite personal to me. It won't make any sense to you, but I loved reading the words and just like going to the event gave me a good old solid kick up the arse in terms of my life and what I want out of it. Reading that letter again did the same thing. And all the feelings and emotions and things I learned from those 3 days in Arizona came rushing back. And I just think it's a great exercise to do. So I recommend you do it as well. You don't have to get someone to post it to you, although that's a great idea because you kind of forget about it. What you could do is you could write it in a notebook to find again at some point in the future, or you could hide it somewhere specific in your house or garage or storage unit or shed or whatever you have, the loft. And then put a note in your calendar or your diary or whatever you use to remind you to find it on a certain date and write down where you hid it because you might have forgotten. And I recommend doing at least 6 months in the future. A year is better. And, write it from where you are now, what you're feeling, what you're going through, but also what you hope to achieve in the next 6 months, year, however long you choose. And also just words of encouragement. I sort of talked about what I'd learnt at the event. And also I just really encouraged my future self, writing it as my past self, to keep going. So it was a much needed boost when I read that half an hour ago. So it can really be a great exercise to do. And it's a good thing to do every 6 months, every year, because then you can save the letters and you can read them back in the future and see how far you've come, basically. And it's just a really cool idea, isn't it? Writing to your future self. And then at some point you will be that future self reading your past self. And then you'll be writing another one to your future self. And it's all very meta, but it's a really good exercise. So I just wanted to mention that. But yes, let's get on to the podcast episode subject about sort of trying on a new life. And the idea for this podcast episode came about from two things I've recently experienced or heard. So number one was I went to London last weekend to dog sit a lovely little whippet for my friend for a long weekend. Gorgeous dog. I stayed in her place in London. I worked from her flat, took the dog for walks in the local park. The dog had lots of friends, as dogs do. Lots of dog walking pals always meet up in that park. I went to the coffee shop she usually goes to. She gave me a list. It basically occurred to me while I was there that I was living her life for a few days. I didn't have her job, obviously, but I was living where she lived with her pet, going to the same places, hanging out with the same dog walkers. I was basically trying on a different life. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was I listened to the Mindset Mentor podcast with Rob Dial. It's great. He releases 4 shortish episodes a week, so there's loads of content there, and he really knows his stuff. And in one particular episode, he was talking about renting your future, which is this really fun thing you can do. It's very Movify your life. So every year or 6 months, you can literally rent the future you want. And that could mean renting a house you want to live in, like renting an Airbnb in the area you know you want to live in, or renting the type of house you know you want to live in. Maybe you're in a bungalow now or a flat or something like that and you want a bigger house. Maybe you're in the city and you would want to be in the country. It's the area and the type of house. You could literally find it on Airbnb and go and pretend you're living there for a weekend or a week or whatever it may be. You could go on a trip somewhere if you want to live in a different place that's far away. You could live like somewhere for a few days or pretend you're living there if it's something completely different to what you're used to. So maybe you don't have much money now, but you would love to have a wealthy, abundant lifestyle in the future. You can like save up and really splash out on some fancy accommodation for a weekend or whatever it may be. Rob mentioned this in the episode, and I have actually done this. You can rent your dream car through an app like Turo. So instead of going to a car rental place and they give you whatever car they happen to have left, you can go on this app, which is like Airbnb for cars. You can pick exactly what make, model, colour, everything you want to drive. So I did that in my Canada trip recently. I made sure to rent a red Jeep Wrangler Unlimited because that's my dream car. I also did it when I went to Arizona, I mentioned earlier. I couldn't find a red Jeep Wrangler then, but I found a bright pink one. So it was like a Barbie car. It was amazing. So you can do that even if it's just for a few days, even if it's just for a day. And if you can't do that, if there's nothing you can find that you want to rent, you could go to a fancy car shop. You can tell I don't know much about cars. You can go to a fancy place and test drive a fancy car. Pretend you are that person who could afford that car. You could hang out in the fancy lobby of a hotel and work there or journal there and pretend these are the kind of places you frequent, or stay in the hotel or go to the restaurant of the hotel, have afternoon tea in the fancy hotel. Maybe you could go on a short plane ride and upgrade to business class or first class and hang out in the lounge and pretend this is what you do all the time. Maybe you want to own a boat eventually, so you could go on a boat trip, a day trip, just all kinds of things. You could breathe life into your dreams and live life how you actually want to be living it, even if it's only for a few days or a day. It gives you a taste for it. It can help you visualize it. And it's something to look forward to if you do this every, say, 6 months or every year until you actually get there. It's a fun thing to do anyway. So anyway, I listened to that podcast not too long before I went to London. So I had it in my head as I was there. And as I said, it got me thinking that this weekend I'm basically trying on another life for size. And isn't that a cool thing to do, to figure out what you actually want from life? So Rob was talking about knowing what dream life you want and doing things to help you visualize it and get used to it so you know what you're aiming for. But my idea was that if you don't know exactly what you want out of life, or if you know you want something else or something more, but you're not sure what, trying on different lives, like you're trying on different outfits for a while, can actually help you decide and get you excited about the possibilities of the future. And I teach people this as part of the Movify Your Life sort of method philosophy, to take inspiration from their favorite films and TV shows and books. And if you really, really love a TV show, like I love Gilmore Girls, really dig deep and think, why do I love it? And I love Gilmore Girls because it's a very cute, cozy, small town with real, like, amazing community and like a beautiful setting. And that's the kind of place I would like to live. Also, I want to be Lorelai Gilmore, which is why my movie star alter ego is based on her. If you want to find out more about your movie star alter ego, you can go to movifyyourlife.com/free and get your free guide there. That's really fun. But I really like this idea of like trying on different lives and getting excited about all the different possibilities of the future and all the different plot lines your life could go on and all the different forms it could take. So, like I say, I do number 2 quite a bit, what Rob Dahl was talking about on the Mindset Mentor, renting your future. I sort of was doing it without really thinking about renting my future, without giving a label to it, but exactly what I was doing. Churro, car rental, my dream car, saving up for big holidays. I love getting a place with a hot tub if I go away anywhere, even if it's just for a couple of days in England. Like, I would love to have a hot tub. So I sort of get one every time I can. Going and working in nice cafes. When we were on holiday in Canada, we couldn't afford to stay at the Lake Louise Fairmont Hotel. So we went and had afternoon tea there instead, got all dressed up and had a nice afternoon tea, stuff like that. And as I said, I did number one recently, trying on the life of my friend in London, although I didn't realize I was doing that at the time. And it's interesting to do this and then like write down what you discover about yourself, about your likes and dislikes, journal on it, meditate on it, talk to Uncle ChatGPT about it. So I knew before I went there that I wouldn't want to live in London. I used to want to live in London, but I have come to the conclusion that I am a country bumpkin at heart. I love visiting big cities. I love visiting London, but I don't want to live there. I get so like gross and sweaty on the tube. Every time I go on the tube, I'm like, I could not do this every day. So I knew I wasn't going to go there and try on that life and be like, I'm moving to London. But there's lots of other things that you can discover about yourself. So if you don't know what kind of life you want and you are trying things on and you go somewhere and you don't like it or you know you don't want to move there, then that's information. That is data. I know I don't want to live in a big city. But she didn't live right in the centre. She lives on the outskirts, though actually in a really good location for getting to the centre. But she lived in a lovely little neighbourhood, lots of parks, lots of trees, had a really nice vibe to it. Nice, strong sense of community, cute cafes. It didn't feel like I was in London or even on the outskirts of London. It felt like a really nice community and a nice location. So I know I like that part of it. I just don't like having to get on the tube to go to other places. Okay, movie star, real talk. Are you tired of feeling like a background extra in your own life? Then it's time to step into the spotlight and activate your main character era. And I've got just the thing to help you do it. Grab my free Movie Star Alter Ego Starter Kit, your behind-the-scenes pass to creating the bold, brave, action-taking version of you who goes after their dreams like the star of a blockbuster. Inside, you'll discover how to design your alter ego, choose your transformational item, pick your theme song, and build the rituals and confidence cues you need to start living your life like the epic movie it was meant to be. So, if you're ready to rewrite your script, roll camera, and finally take the lead, head to movifyyourlife.com/free to download your free starter kit now. That's movifyyourlife.com/free. Your next scene starts today. And now, let's get back to the action. They also had foxes everywhere, and I love foxes. And parakeets, wild parakeets, swooping around, rose-ringed parakeets, these bright green birds everywhere, which was really cool. And I also went to Crystal Park Palace while I was there to see the Victorian dinosaurs, which is awesome. I loved going to like the cute cafes, finding out all these new cute places to go. And that made me think I need to go to more cute cafes in my area. So it can also give you ideas for things to do where you are right now as well. Even if you don't go there and immediately think, this is the life I want, it can give you information in all kinds of ways. So I was thinking about this and I was thinking like, we often try on clothes before we buy them. We test drive cars before we buy them. Maybe we sample food before bulk ordering a lot of it. We taste the wine, if you're in a fancy restaurant, before committing to the bottle. But when it comes to huge life decisions, like where to live, what career to pursue, what kind of lifestyle we want, we often try to make the decisions entirely in our heads, like without testing them out, without experiencing them. And that seems backwards, doesn't it? All the big decisions, we don't test drive them first and vice versa. So I think it's a good way to sort of sample different lives. And I think it takes a lot of pressure off choosing the perfect life or the perfect path or the perfect next step. You can dabble, you can try different things, different places, different types of houses, different types of hobbies, different things you want to do. Just like collect evidence of what you do and don't like. And like I say, sometimes you discover what you don't want, and that is just as valuable, even more valuable sometimes. So it's kind of like an idea of like treating life like a menu, if we're going to go for all the metaphors. You can try things. It doesn't mean you have to try that one dish or eat that one dish for the rest of your life. You can sample bits here and there. Like maybe think of it like tapas. We're sampling bits here and there and seeing what we like and what we don't like and gathering information for the next time we go to that restaurant. And like I say, the things you like are little clues, little puzzle pieces of the dream life you're building up. And this is why I always say when you're watching a TV show or film that you really love and you really connect with, or you really connect with the characters, write down why, because it gives you so many clues about the kind of life you want, the kind of person you want to be, the kind of place you want to live, the kind of job you want, maybe. It's all about picking up little clues here and there and putting it together to create the whole. So the idea is you don't have to commit to a new life in one instant. You just have to go out there, try different things and audition for it. So my homework for you this week is, well, there's a couple of parts. The first part is to decide which one of these camps you fit into more than the other. So number 1 is, I know what my dream life looks like. You know exactly what you want. You just need to get there. Number 2 is, I know I want something different in life, something more, but I don't know what. Then if you're in camp number 1, you know what your dream life looks like. I want you to do what Rob Dial of the Mindset Mentor suggests. Also follow his podcast if you're into mindset stuff. It's great. And do something, preferably in the next few weeks, to rent your future, your dream future. So you could hire your dream car or go for a test drive. You could have a weekend breakaway in the place you want to live. Hire an Airbnb in the place you want to live. Stay in a fancy hotel, go for afternoon tea in that hotel, or work in the lobby of the fancy hotel. Go to a fancy restaurant and dress up and splash out. Have a glass of champagne instead of a glass of wine or the bottle. Upgrade to first class on a flight or even a train. I follow Denise Duffield Thomas. Listen to her podcast, Chill and Prosper. I actually met her in London when she did an event there. It was very exciting. She talks about things like doing incremental upgrades to your life. Like if you have all old, dodgy underwear, go out and buy new underwear, and upgrading to a first class life bit by bit until you get there. And this is kind of the same idea. You could go and buy an outfit that you consider out of your price range so that every time you wear it, it will remind yourself of what kind of life you're trying to build, what kind of person you want to be, the kind of person who can afford stuff like that or who has the confidence to wear stuff like that, like no matter what your reason behind it. Maybe it's just a fancy accessory, like a nice hat that you wouldn't normally wear. Just have fun with it. This is the kind of life you want. So enjoy getting those little tastes of it until it's time to live that life fully. So that's if you're number 1. If you're in camp number 2, where you know you want something different, but you don't know what, then I want you to come up with a list of ideas of different lives you could try on. So maybe this is different places you might want to live, different jobs you might want to have, different hobbies you want to start, different kind of lifestyle in general. And then maybe you can do something like I did, which is dog sitting or house sitting for a friend or a stranger. I used to be on trustedhousesitters.com and you can find places all over the world. Then you can actually live in that house or flat or whatever it is in a particular place. You can ask the owners or neighbours for local recommendations, shops, restaurants, cafes, things they usually do, places they usually go. Maybe there's a local theatre or cinema or something, somewhere that puts on events. Maybe you'll even get to hang out with some of the people your friends hang out with or whoever owns the house. Like when I went to the local park and a load of the regular dog walkers were there who all knew the dog I was looking after. Maybe you want to visit a friend who lives somewhere nice or just somewhere totally different to where you live, just to try it out. Stay with them for a few days and kind of ask if you can shadow them. What would you normally do? Where would you normally go? Explore with them, do what they usually do and just try it on and see how it fits. Try on their life. Don't do it in a creepy way though. Don't be like, this is my life now. Just use it as inspiration. Tell them what you're doing and that you're trying different lifestyles and seeing what you do and do not like. Basically, anything that's different to your usual daily life is great as you get to do different things, see if you like them. And it might be stuff that you'd never even thought of, but you might like it. You never know. So don't limit yourself. Try lots of different things. So for instance, you might live currently in a small flat in a city and you want to try living in a bigger place, maybe in a less expensive place so you get more house for your money. Maybe you want to try living out in the sticks surrounded by countryside or vice versa. You're a country bumpkin used to living in a small village where not much goes on and you want to test out the bright lights of a city and all the exciting things that come with it. And here's an important point actually. Obviously, feel free to do touristy stuff while you're there. By all means, do that. But I would encourage you to live like a local as much as possible. So if you do work remotely, take your laptop with you and work while you're there, either in the house or at a local cafe. So you actually know what it would be like to actually live there, to work there. Go to the shops and the cafes and the restaurants that the locals do, as I said. Check out community events or other things you can attend. Maybe there's an independent bookshop that holds talks and readings. Try one of the hobbies your friends has if you've not tried it before. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's a local gym, maybe it's you want to go to a silent reading event, loads of stuff that you could do. Perhaps you found the place you want to move to, or perhaps it gives you ideas for somewhere else you'd like to live, or other hobbies you want to incorporate into your life where you are now. Like perhaps you dog sit for someone for a few days and realize you want a dog of your own, or you want that particular breed and you've never really hung out with that breed before. Maybe you house sit for someone with a hot tub or a swimming pool or something fancy. And then that goes down on your ultimate wish list of what you want from your dream house. Maybe you really enjoy the community feel of a village or a particular neighborhood in a city like where I went, and you want to replicate that in the future. So you know now, if you want to research places you want to live, you want to make sure that there's lots of community events, local clubs and groups, things going on of that nature that you can attend. It can give you so many clues about what you want out of life. And like I say, if you can try in lots of different places and lots of different lives, even better, because you may discover something you had no clue about before. You can do this as often as you like, on whatever scale you like, big or small. Just keep trying things, keep that dream future vision topped up, and have a lot of fun in the process. And if you do this, I would love to know how you get on. You can DM me on Instagram at Movify Your Life. You can email me at action@movifyyourlife.com. And please share this episode with anyone you think would get a kick out of it or find it interesting, because we love sharing the Movify message far and wide. And yeah, let me know how you get on. Thank you for listening. And until next Movify Monday, I will see you on the red carpet. Thank you so much for listening to the Movify Your Life show. Before you go, don't forget to sign up for the main character memo mailing list at movifyyourlife.com/list for exclusive tips, treats, and behind the scenes magic. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, leave a review, or share this podcast with a friend. Let's spread that Movify message far and wide, because everyone deserves to live an epic life fit for the big screen. I'll see you next week for another Movify Monday. Until then, that's a wrap.